Live and local, this is Good Morning PD on Live 95.
Welcome back to Good Morning PD Live 95 on a Wednesday morning, thanks to our good friends at McCall Farms. I told you I had some polling data that I found very interesting. Get my hands on this real quick, because I do think this is interesting for the midterms. I mean, we're in the month of April now. So you've got primaries in June, the second Tuesday of June in many, many states across the country. And then November, obviously, will be, up for grabs, the control of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. Pew Research did an analysis with about 10,000 interviews. They hardly ever do a sample that large. That's why I paid attention to it. It's normally 1,400, 1,600, 800, 905. There's a science behind that. But they did a survey of 10,000 registered voters. And it's really the reason they're doing it, to find out generic Republican versus generic Democrat. One of the most telling statistics within the polling reb, and once again, Pew Research does a good job with the analytics. Now, they don't try to get people elected. They don't have a clue how to get people elected, and they don't really normally ask these sensationalized questions. Do you think Obama's the Antichrist? Do you think Trump's a raging maniac who trips on LSD every morning he walks into the Oval Office? I mean, there's some polling companies who do that. Pew Research is not really a polling company as much as an analytics company. 10,000 interviews with registered voters. 37% identify as independents. 33% are Democrats. 26% are Republicans. That's a concerning number to me. 33% Democrat, 26% Republican. That's a 7-point spread. That needs to be about 4. The Democrat Party's a bigger political party than the Republicans, but it doesn't need to be 7. I mean, as a Republican, that's concerning to me. Now, you can say, yeah, but 37% identify with independents. That's the word, identify with independents. 90% or more of people who identify with a party usually vote that way. In other words, the 37% who identify as an independent will not have an independent on the ballot. So 90% of those people who identify as independents will vote with the party of which they are in, by and large, agreement with. So there's not really 30. They like to say they're independents. It's a little bit of a protest. I mean, I say every now and then, I'm an independent. No, you're not. You're a Republican. Push come to shove, you're going to vote Republican, no matter how frustrated you probably are with the grand old party. The proportion of true independents with no partisan leanings is about 6 to 7%. So all of you out there that say you're an independent, the majority of you aren't. You just don't like to say I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat. I vote for the person. I mean, how many times have we heard that? I vote for the person. Go back and look at your voting record. It's probably overwhelmingly for one party or the other. Now here's where the Republicans have some big issues. And here's where I think the numbers are skewed by 7 instead of the usual 4. Women for decades have been more likely than men to identify as Democrat or lean Democrat. I mean, that's probably 30 years or so that women identify. 56% majority of women identify as Democrat or lean Democrat, while only 37% affiliate or lean toward the Republican Party. Now, that share of women identifying as Democrat or leaning Democrat is up 4 percentage points since 2016. That's troubling if you're a Republican. Because if you are a Republican, this lost ground among women has not been offset by a corresponding increase among men. 48% of men identify with the Republican Party or lean Republican, while 44% are Democrat or lean Democrat. That's about the same number. So when you look at the the 33 Democrat, 26 Republican, it is by and large the women who lean Democrat or identify Democrat are much more inclined to vote for the Democrat this election cycle. That is troubling if you're a Republican. Doesn't have a lot to do with Donald Trump, I don't think. I mean, I would imagine it's some of Trump's vulgarities, and maybe, you know, I'm not a woman, I can't relate to that, but I mean, maybe the Stormy Daniels issue, you know, maybe the Playboy Bunny issue, the women we've heard in the public square saying, no, that's not an effect on my vote or doesn't have an effect on my vote. Then let's go a couple of other subsets I think are very interesting. Education. Those with just a high school diploma or less identify or lean Republican by 2 points, 47 to 45%, while those with some college but no degree tip toward the Democrats by 2%. So you've got a universe of people, high school graduates with a little bit of college, and they're kind of tit for tat. They're, you know, high school diplomas up to Republican, a little bit of college up to Democrat. Here's where it gets squirrely. And I got a theory here, and educators and academics won't like it, but I've got a pretty good theory here. Among those with a 4-year college degree, but no graduate school, the Democrats have a 15-point lead, 54 to 39%. For those with postgraduate experience, the Democrat advantage expands to 32 percentage points, 63 to 31. So when you look at education as a factor of why you vote one way or the other, once again, high school graduates with a little bit of college or within a couple of percentage points of one another. There's a little bit of variance, but not much. But once you become a product of our higher education system in America today, for whatever reason, you become overwhelmingly entranced with Democrat philosophy, values, and discernment. There is no avoiding nor escaping that reality. The longer you go to college, the more you go to college, the more liberal you become. Now once again, Alec, get your microphone. Maybe the word that we like to explain, maybe it's an important word, maybe it's a proper word, maybe you become more
woke,
or maybe you become indoctrinated. Maybe you're told to believe a certain thing and think a certain way. Maybe that universe is so, we talked about gerrymandering, you know, Friday on the show. The word is not gerrymandering, but maybe that world becomes so monolithic that they command the message. It's one message. It's one and one alone. Rev, there is no other reason. There is no other logical explanation. I mean, unless people that go to college become that much more aware of what's good for the world and what's not. I mean, maybe I'm underestimating college. Maybe college is indeed the secret to everything. I mean, they charge enough for it, so maybe it is indeed the secret to everything. Or potentially, it could be a place where young people become brainwashed about certain things. Because a little bit of college didn't stay long. You're still kind of 50-50 Republican, Democrat. A lot of college, you become very enamored with the Democrat Party. And if you ever get a postgraduate degree, you are a Democrat for life. So the statistics clearly show. And once again, I'm not arguing that maybe when you go to college, you do become more aware, become more enlightened, become more woke. I have my reasons to doubt that. And I think higher education today has become, I think the academia element in higher education today has become very much what the media is. And when you look at conservative policies, when you look at the Republican Party, and you talk about the two centers of forces that fight against, you know, kind of a conservative and traditional agenda, it is academia and it is the media. And I think when you've got so many people in the media that see the world a certain way and they're in agreement. They're in absolute agreement of how the world should work. And then you go to college campuses all over the country, and there's this academia belief, and it's monolithic. I mean, there's a couple of outliers. You can go back and look at numbers in relation to professors and what they believe, what they stand for. There are some business professors, some economic professors, not many, that would land on the conservative side of the political debate, but the overwhelming majority are on the liberal side. So I'll just leave it to your imagination. I mean, do you believe that young people are impressionable? Do you believe college professors teach in a very fair and inexact way? Or do you believe that young people become more woke and enlightened and aware about what makes the world a better place? I think you know where I stand. I'll let you decide on your own. Take a break. Back in a minute. I want to thank McCall Farms. Good morning, PD Live 95.